Live on The Pulse. Now, a research by the University of Southampton on vaccine acceptance in Ghana has shown that 43% of Ghanaians believe the vaccines are dangerous and could affect their health. The research also shows that 54.3% say the vaccines may have some harmful side effects. However, 82.8% of Ghanaians also say they are willing to take the vaccines when offered the opportunity. This research comes as the Ghana Health Service readies itself to inoculate more Ghanaians following the arrival of some 350,000 AstraZeneca vaccines on Friday. We will hear from one of the researchers who spoke earlier on the AM show. But first, let's go on Zoom and get some responses from the Ghana Health Service. Dr. Aboagye Da Costa, Chairman of the Risk Communication and Community Engagement of Ghana's COVID-19 response. So, Doc, you've heard the numbers, staggering, aren't they? What would you say to those who point to your office as being responsible for the poor perception of Ghanaians when it comes to vaccines?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you well. Could you please repeat the question?
My question, Dr. Aboagye, was there are some who may say that if Ghanaians have this perception of vaccines, then it is your office, the Office of Risk Communication and Community Engagement, which has failed.
Okay, thank you. So I think I have to put on record that when we brought the vaccines in, we had to put in place strategies to make sure that Ghanaians uptake the vaccines. And you saw from the first phase that currently we've vaccinated about close to 1 million. And even the ones we received from MTN also has shorter expiry date, but because of the effectiveness of the risk communication and the operational research that we did, we managed to obviously use those vaccines before the expiry date. So I think it is not true that my office has failed, but I mean, obviously hesitancy is a problem across the world. And we are trying so hard to make sure that we build trust for Ghanaians to accept the vaccines, and it is the reason why some of our strategies actually was that the president and leaders of this country should actually be the first to receive the vaccines. The clergy, the traditional leaders, they were all engaged to make sure that we increase acceptance of the vaccines. And that is what actually worked well for us. Now, if you look at the research, it says that 43.4 says that they believe. So they believing is not equal to no, they're not taking the vaccines. It's just a belief. So all we have to do is to continuously educate them to obviously change their beliefs or change their perceptions. Right. So, I mean, obviously, the method that we have used has actually worked effectively. And it is the reason why uptake was very high when we started the first phase.
So your response would be then that because of the high numbers who have taken the vaccine, your methods are actually working. Should we then discount this research by the University of Southampton? Is that your position?
And yes, you see, even if you look at it, the research says that 82.8% are willing to even take the vaccines. So it means that the likelihood of uptake could even go higher. So we are looking at hesitancy of about 9.6%. So it means that if you look at the beginning, the research even said that the beginning hesitancy was around 63%, compared to the current state, which is about 82%, even though this research was done pre, you can see that a lot of work has gone in there. Now, let me tell you something. You see, within the Ghana Health Service, anytime, any program that we do, we take advantage to educate the population on the COVID protocols, build confidence on hesitancy, because we knew that this program was going to obviously take off. So we have put in a lot of effort. Maybe the community engagement activities have actually helped us a lot in coming this far. Now we are planning for the next phase. And I can assure you that we do everything possible for Ghanaians to accept the vaccines by selling obviously the safety, the safety of the vaccines to Ghanaians.
Right.
Because we have a robust FDA that when the vaccines come in, they evaluate to make sure that they are safe for us to use.
Right.
Currently, that is the process that the vaccines are going through. So I certainly believe that we continue to build confidence of Ghanaians to accept the vaccines.
Having said that, this research should be discounted or dismissed, what then is informing your confidence? I know you mentioned the numbers, but we did not see a mass media campaign, correct me if I'm wrong. We did not see adverts rolling on radio and television. What was the budget for educating the public? How was it expended?
Okay, thank you. I think first, like I said, we did an operational research ourselves to measure the level of hesitancy. And that actually informs our messaging and our strategy. So then aside that, we collaborated with PEG, and you know that I was the one who presented on behalf of Africa the PEG report. And at the time, even hesitancy was around 42%. But all these coming together with other research actually informs our strategy. But let me say that for our mass media campaign, it's currently even happening. The jingles were actually played on your video. Not only that, others as well. We did a little bit of press briefings, but I believe that, you see, these are what you call the above the line. You see, in such situations, in this situation, you really have to engage. So we focus more on community engagement, stakeholder engagement, to get the buy-in of the leaders, the celebrities, the media houses, all the others. So that strategy has actually worked very well. And trust me, there's a reason why uptake was high. And I can tell you, uptake was very, very high. So, this research is very good. It is actually to help us, obviously, improve on whatever that we are doing. And research is also to inform us to, obviously, be cautious and plan for anything that will, obviously, come later. So, to me, I believe that we have to take it in good faith and work on it and say that, yes, we accept the findings and we work towards improving the hesitancy level such that every Ghanaian will take the vaccine. So, and again, we also don't want to leave anyone behind. So we are reaching out to hard to reach citizens, very vulnerable citizens, people living with disability, and others. So we are promoting inclusiveness in our vaccination program as well.
Just so I get some clarity on this, Doctor, you are not dismissing the research?
No, you can't dismiss the research like this. Why would you dismiss it? You see, why do you do research? It is to inform you to take decisions. So the fact of the matter is that because people are saying that they believe that it's obviously dangerous, it's not equal to the vaccine being dangerous. It is just to say that you have to work on people's perception for them to. And in the midst of all this that we are discussing, about 82% says that they are willing to take the vaccine. So the likelihood of people accepting the vaccine is also there. So all we have to do is to continue with the strategies that we put in place and maybe do a little bit of targeting based on the findings. It's a collective effort. So I welcome the research that they've done.
Right.
We have our operational research as well, but we compare the figures and use that to come up with a comprehensive, obviously, implementation strategy in the second phase that will help people to uptake.
I just wanted to get that clarity because of what you said earlier. But speaking of the second phase, which you just hinted about, when is it beginning? We know that we received some 350,000 doses on Friday. When are we receiving the jabs?
I think we are putting the structures in place, but I would prefer that the Director General, the President, and the others will be the ones to make the announcement rather than me. So I think that we as technical people are working, and we will continue to consult the leadership of the country so that they are able to obviously announce when we should be doing the second phase of the vaccination, but it will be long.
We respect that, Doctor. I was simply asking, given the fact that we know that some of these vaccines have an expiry date that is coming up soon, so it would be expected that by now the rollout would have begun.
Yes, so we've taken that also into consideration. We know that around June 24th or ending thereabout, the vaccines will go out of date. But you remember I told you that the FDA also have to do their checks and others. So currently I know that is ongoing. But very soon I know that the Director General will announce our comprehensive plan. Or maybe the Minister of Health or the President will do that. So we have taken the dates into consideration and the expiry date, and we'll work around the clock to make sure that all these vaccines are administered. Now, let me give you the basis upon which these vaccines were given to us. These vaccines were given to us as a result of the fact that we have a robust expanded immunization program. Currently, our immunization coverage is over 90%. So this is the reason why the country selected to benefit from this facility that was given to Congo was given to us.
Right.
So I think we will certainly be able to administer these vaccines with a comprehensive special campaign to make sure that none goes out of date.
Dr. Abuaje Dacosta, we're grateful for your time. That was Dr. Abuaje Dacosta, Chairman of Risk Communication and Community Engagement of Ghana's COVID-19 response. We can now hear from one of the researchers, Kirchhoff's Atengle. He spoke earlier on the AM show.
The acceptance level was lower. That in August of last year, we had about 63.2% of the respondents being being willing to take the vaccine. Now, when we did the second round in March, the acceptance rate had gone higher, which is about 82.4%. So we can see some progression, some improvement in acceptance. And what we're suggesting now is that if we can put measures in place to do targeted communication, to those groups who are expressing hesitancy, then we could further increase the numbers, the willingness to take the jabs.
So what do we have to, of course, you've given one recommendation there. We're getting ready to take the second doses already. There's been some issues surrounding this one, of course, because of where it is coming from. Again, also because we know that there is an expiry date to it. The reason we've got to take it in good time. People who gladly took the first dose are still not very clear with these details coming out with the second doses. So what do we have to do as a country? What must be done?
So first and foremost, I believe we need to procure as much as possible more of the doses because those who took the first jabs had not received the second ones, and there are other studies that even suggest that the recommendation is to give more space between the jabs, So The delay, to some extent, will actually be to the advantage of Ghana. The delay we have experienced from the procurement may actually be an advantage to us, but the delay shouldn't be too much. So once we have this about 350,000 doses arriving, it's still not enough because the first ones we had were more than this.
600,000.
So we just need to administer them as soon as possible, so that those we can also start with the first timers, those who are yet to take their first doses.
Can I go back to when you say the delays to our advantage? Kindly explain.
Yes, so we noticed that the timelines given by Ghana Health Services to have an interval of about 6 weeks in between the doses, and this plays out that the recommendation is actually between 6 and then 12 weeks, interval. So, and there have been studies conducted to see which of these, timelines would work better, and it seems to suggest that the wider, the time, the gap in between, the better the effect in the protection cover that the individual will have. And so we may just want to, that's how come I mentioned that it could actually be in our advantage, with this delay. I, for instance, was due to take my second dose on the 2nd of May. And once that has not been taken, scientifically, it suggests that I'm likely to have a better cover with the next dose that I have. Just that it shouldn't go beyond the 12 weeks timeline.
Okay, that's interesting. So you also say that the opportunity should be given to first timers. I know how in the first phase they needed to let some specific people take it so it could boost the confidence or encourage other people too. And I thought we would go the same way. People are waiting to see if after you take the second dose, you still be okay. But you have a different strategy.
So yes, I think that is okay. The plan that government put out to get some key officials to take them, from the beginning, including health officers, because they are frontline officers, of course, and we need to protect them like our soldiers. They are our soldiers, our real soldiers in this time, and others. So that is the plan put out by the Ghana Health Service is just adequate. What we're looking at is more of the governance space for communication. We need to to employ multiple stakeholders in this communication. We need to see NDC and NPP, for instance, working together to communicate to their people, to address the political, driving forces there. We need to see our religious. Another study conducted by the Ghana Health Service, also in March, suggests that amongst the various professional groups that they surveyed, the religious leaders were the least, group willing to accept the vaccine. So if this is the situation, then their own followers are equally, likely not to take them, because they will stand on the platform, on the podiums to preach and then to send out the communication messages. So if they, as the religious leaders, are not willing to take it, then their own narrative, their own messaging will be against taking it, which will not for our target of reaching about 20 million people by close of year.
Well, Keshav, thank you so much for your time. He's the Executive Director of PAX.